So it can feel frustrating and confusing when a partner is acting hot and cold. It can give you whiplash, having incredible moments one minute and then the next they're like a completely different person. And it can feel really difficult to know what to do. Do you call it out? Do you say something? Or do you say nothing? Hell, do you walk away? In this video, I'm going to break down why your partner is acting hot and cold towards you, what to avoid, and what you can do to start turning the tides more towards the hot moments. So it can feel like a bit of a mindfuck when one minute your partner is acting like they want to be with you, they seem happy, excited, and talking about the future, but the next minute they're not responding to texts, maybe they're talking about next steps to break up, or talking about a future without you in it. It can leave us feeling like we want to walk away to protect ourselves, or even just confront the issue, tackle the issue head on, and call our partner out about it. So let's first break down why this is happening. So when it comes to hot actions, sometimes your partner is seeing the good moments. This is where your partner feels hope for the relationship. They feel like there is potential for change and growth within it. They've maybe noticed that you're taking steps in the right direction to change things around, and that fills them with hope. Think about it, this is something that they've wanted to see for a long time. Usually in these moments, they've had these doubts at the back of their mind, and they've been wanting to see changes, but they haven't seen them happen. So this is why they've started to withdraw. But when they see change and they see growth, this is something that they've wanted to see for a long time. So they feel hopeful about the direction that the relationship is headed in. If you think about the picture that we often paint of our ideal partner in our mind when we start a relationship, they're kind of lofty, right? They're kind of bold. During these hot moments with your partner, these are times when they see the potential of that. They see the potential of growth and of change, and maybe they see that dream relationship on the horizon. But the problem is that it's likely that these hot moments, these moments where they feel potential, are few and far between. That these steps that the relationship is taking don't feel quite big enough yet. So your partner doesn't want to give you a solid yes and doesn't want to fully commit to maybe get back together or to spend the rest of their lives with you. So they don't want to give you a solid yes of being together, but they also don't want to say no, let's fully walk away, because they're not 100% feeling that the relationship could be headed in the right direction. And the reason why they do feel that no is that, during these cold moments, these cold actions, your partner is remembering some of the bad times, some of the tough times, some of the difficult times. In relationships, there are only ever really two problems. There's two types of discords. There's emotional discords and there's logical discords. And these two discords are at the core of every single relationship challenge. So to briefly touch on it, emotional discords are essentially when your partner has worries, challenges, or all these emotional feelings inside that they can't quite reconcile. And logical discords are when there are more practical, logical steps of maybe scheduling or just day-to-day logical ideas that your partner feels worried about. The problem comes is that when over time your partner has approached either a logical or an emotional discord to you, they've had negative responses to them. They haven't been resolved, or maybe you've shut down your partner or you've hurt your partner's feelings. If you want a bit more information on that, check my video on the 5 toxic responses for a bit more info on that. But basically, when they've approached you about them, they've experienced one of these negative reactions, and that adds another emotional discord on top. And these discords start to build up around the original discord. And this is when trust starts to dwindle. Your partner starts to look at the relationship through a different eye and sort of think to themselves, this is not something that I really wanted. This is not something that I signed up for, and it's not headed in the right direction. These problems, these discords are not being resolved. So they start to feel less comfortable. They start to feel less compassion. They start to see the idea that these challenges are going to be overcome. They start to lose trust that that's going to happen. And because these discords start to build up, our partner's defenses start to go up because of what they sort of expect to happen. They start to look, and rather than seeing problems being overcome, they start to expect that these discords are not going to be resolved, that actually the relationship is headed in the wrong direction, and that maybe all these hopes and dreams that they had about the relationship aren't going to come true. And the reason for this is something called expectancy bias. So expectancy bias is the subconscious phenomenon that means when we have been through a lot of negative experiences, we can often expect things to turn out bad, even when they're not. And this means that we can subconsciously act in a way that encourages those negative things to happen. So your partner's defenses go up because of what they expect to happen. And sometimes this means that they subconsciously start acting like you've already done something negative, even when you haven't. And they can pre-punish you. So when the relationship starts to head in the wrong direction, our expectancy bias can start to kick in, which means that human beings can act in toxic ways that maybe provoke these reactions. And this is where we can see our partner maybe start to raise their voice, start to shout, start to call you out for things that you maybe feel like you haven't done. So again, this is normal behavior. This is not something that your partner is consciously doing, but subconsciously at the back of their mind, they're expecting more negative situations, which is why these cold moments can often happen and can often escalate. And it's really important to understand how to respond during these moments, which I'll get to later on in the video. But these hot and cold moments for your partner are a constant seesaw of emotions. And just before I jump into that, if you do want more videos on relationships and how to master them, then feel free to subscribe to the channel for new videos every single week. So these hot and cold moments are a constant seesaw of emotions for your partner. And this is something that happens for all of us when there are really high stakes situations. For example, think about if you want to make an expensive purchase like a car. Cars are expensive, right? So dropping 20, 30, 40K on something is a lot, no matter what it is. You don't want to make the wrong decision because ultimately you want this to last for a long time, if not forever. And it's the same with a relationship. When it comes to relationships, we're not wanting some quick fling. Ultimately, deep down, we're looking for someone to spend the rest of our life with. You don't want to invest in a relationship that's going to fall apart or need to be taken to the mechanic every 6 months. You're ultimately looking for something that is going to last a lifetime. So if you're test driving and feeling like the transmission is maybe not 100%, you're going to hesitate when it comes to committing to buy from the salesman. So your partner is worried that you'll stop making changes and the relationship will stop growing in the right direction once they commit back to you. Once they say, yes, I'm all in, they're worried that you'll stop and all of these old problems and discords will start to come back. They're worried that the car is going to turn into a lemon. So how do we create more hot moments? How do we melt the ice of the cold moments? Firstly, it's really crucial to make sure that you are learning the right skills, not just the basics in talking and communicating in the right way, but thinking in effective ways, taking action in effective ways. There are many YouTube videos out there that will give you some nice scripts to give your partner to persuade them to come back to you. But your partner is going to be fully aware of these. In modern relationships, there needs to be a much higher standard than some quick tactics and scripts. There need to be deep changes, true changes that are the right changes in the right direction. So you can approach the relationship in a modern way, in a very high standard way. And these changes need to be not just for your relationship, but for yourself as well. You owe it to yourself to learn the right processes to grow, to be able to develop your skills and to be able to navigate all types of relationships, not just romantic ones. And this is something that I go much deeper on with my ultra normal members. If you want to learn the right skills to turn your relationship around, then join me on my free relationship bootcamp, where you'll learn the skills, tools, and strategies to start turning your relationship around. Click on the link in the description to get started today. Next, it's important to change your mindset to a mastery mindset. Once you're learning the right skills, it's not just a matter of learning them and forgetting about them. It's a matter of practicing them, honing them, and mastering them so that you will always show up day after day, month after month, year after year. This is what my members and I call the mastery mindset. If you've ever heard the phrase, what you need on game day, you find in practice. This means that when important moments come up, you need to be practiced and rehearsed enough in order to be able to handle them. Difficult situations, difficult conversations. When your partner is acting with expectancy bias, it's important to be able to have prepared for all of these moments. And this means having a mastery mindset, which is about practicing the right growth skills day in, day out, so that when there are cold moments, you're still showing up because it's your default. And when there are hot moments, you show up even more. This means that the cold moments warm up and the hot moments become even hotter. And this is why it's important to start mastering your mindset as well. And again, because of the expectancy bias, your partner can subconsciously start to escalate situations. Their negative interpretations of you and your actions can perpetuate a negative feedback loop within themselves. This is human nature. This is what we do naturally. So it's really important to understand how to master not only de-escalation, but turning these cold moments into more positive ones, to pattern interrupt that negative feedback loop with a calm and caring demeanor. And I actually have a deep dive video into how to handle escalating conflict, which I will leave you with right here. I'll see you over there.